Hello again, this is Stuart doing another pregnancy video. This time we are on week 14, which means that as of today my wife enters the second trimester. We're 1/3 of the way through this, and so far everything's been going very well. We're excited to move on with the next stage of pregnancy. So, like I said in my last video, I've looked for some inputs about what to talk about, what people would like to know concerning my viewpoints and my experiences through the first trimester. I got a little bit of feedback, most of it in person, but I felt like I would address a few of those questions today. So one of the things that people asked the most was if I felt I was ready to be a father, as in, you know, they would look at me like, so are you ready to actually like have a responsibility with kids? Because, you know, there's the stigma, the thought that, oh, you know, when you don't have kids, you have all this freedom. You can go out and do whatever you want. You can travel, you can do whatever hobby. And now kids, you're just kind of stuck working and have to take care of them and all that. And, you know, I don't really see it that way too much. Personally, I've always felt like one of my purposes in life was to be a dad and to raise children. I didn't have too much of an interest of just going out and traveling and seeing the world and all that. And I mean, not saying that's bad for anyone that does have that. That's a very good ambition to have. But for me, I've always felt like I, you know, should be a father. That I should dedicate my life to raising kids when the time came. And, well, the time is now. So I am looking forward to the responsibility in raising kids, teaching them to, you know, be good members of society and good people, and, you know, all the fun, responsible pep talk dad stuff that I'll get to do in years to come. So for me, it's a very exciting opportunity. You know, to me, it's the next stage of life, and it feels like a very natural progression. It's not anything that I'm scared about. I mean, sure, I'm kind of nervous about how all these things I'll have to do when I'm a dad, but I'm looking forward to this next stage of life. I feel it's the next stage in the natural progression of what I should be doing in life, you know, as I mature into adulthood. I mean, I'm already there, but you know what I mean. It's just the next stage, and I'm excited to be there. I'm looking forward to those opportunities. A few people have also kind of wondered exactly what it's like having to deal with a pregnant wife during the first trimester, and overall I will be able to say that not too different. Well, at least my wife hasn't been that much different compared to how she is normally in terms of like mannerisms or needs or whatnot. I mean, there are a few things that I have to do to go out of my way to help her, like she's more tired now, for example, so I try to pick up some of the slack by sometimes I'll do the shopping by myself, or I'll do other chores by myself just when she's tired. I also have tried to take more of an initiative to make dinner, for example, instead of asking her to make dinner because she's tired, and especially because she's still at school and work. So I try to step in wherever I can and let her rest and take those responsibilities off her shoulders whenever possible. But overall, during this first trimester, I've just been super excited. It has been very nerve-wracking for both of us, especially for me. Just because there's lots of unknowns, like, well, I don't know how baby's doing or what's going to happen in the future or what we need to do. So it's definitely a huge learning curve as to, you know, what fatherhood is, let alone how to take care of the baby during pregnancy. I would say that's probably one of the biggest challenges for a first-time father like myself, is just lots of unknowns. But, you know, it's just part of the process. You just have to learn these things. You don't pick up a book that tells you everything you have to do. I think it's way too complex for there to be a book in existence, but to me it's fun to learn about all these things, to sort of the trial and error process and figure it out. That's kind of rewarding to figure out how to do it and have success at it. So this last week of the first trimester has not been too different for my wife compared to weeks past. She's still feeling kind of tired. The nausea has gone down considerably though, so she's not feeling nearly as much of the morning sickness. Appetite is starting to come back bit by bit, but again, she's still a little bit picky with food. So overall things are kind of like they have been previous weeks, just a little bit more toned down, not nearly as severe. One interesting development this week though is that she is starting to feel little tiny flutters, you know, like little tiny baby motions inside her. And that's super exciting. I mean, the downside is, as a guy, I don't get to feel this at all. I don't get to feel what happens, you know, in the womb. And I gotta admit, that's kind of a bummer for me. I would love to feel that. I can't wait to feel my baby kick. But I'm not going to be able to feel that for like another 2 months because the motions are still just very tiny. My wife just barely picks up on it. It's not very often that she feels it. And of course, I can't feel anything at all. But oh, I can't wait for that to happen soon. So that is very exciting. It's definitely a confirmation of, okay, everything's still going well. If baby's moving, baby has to be alive and well. Because, like I said, we're still, I mean, throughout this entire first trimester, we're still having, hope nothing goes wrong miscarriage-wise. But so far, especially what we've talked with doctors, it sounds like the biggest risks that we've had in attempts past are over. We don't have to worry about that too much. So we can look forward to a nice, healthy baby at this rate. Speaking about health, this is the time of year where there's lots of illnesses going around. And that's got us slightly concerned because we're hoping that my wife doesn't get sick at all during this pregnancy. But that's going to be easier said than done. We've known a few people that have had colds and flus and whatnot. And especially because we're both in school and it's near the end of the school semester, you know, people are still going to school anyway, whether they're sick or not, because work has to be done, tests have to be taken. And so that's going to be really hard to avoid that kind of stuff. So we're preparing for the worst, but we're hoping nothing bad happens too much. But we'll see what happens. we do have, like I said, we've been following a guide, a pregnancy book guide that includes a chapter about what to do if you are sick. So we'll turn to those pages when the time comes, but we're crossing our fingers that nothing happens. And those are all the developments for this week. I am looking forward to talking with everyone about the second trimester. Apparently this is where lots of things start to change, and like I said, in the next month or two I'll start to feel baby kick myself, and oh, I can't wait for that time. But in the meantime, I will continue to make these videos on a weekly basis. Thank you once again for joining me. Again, if you have any other questions or any other things that you think you'd like to know about my experience, feel free to drop a comment down below on this video, and I would be happy to address it. Thank you once again for joining me. I look forward to the next 6 months with you guys. Stay awesome, everyone.